Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Performance E streaming. It's Sunday night, so that means it's time for the My Private Cellar's Australasian Supercar eSeries. Yes, we are here tonight at Chicagoland Speedway. I'm Mr. Carl Wilkinson with you, and we're going to start off with running through the starting grid for tonight's race. And Craig Roffey takes pole ahead of Troy Davidson on the outside. On row number 2, it's Tom Pritchard and Raymond Yeager. Justin Whitcher, Gary Wellman make up our row number 3. On row number 4, it's Chris Finlay, Darren McKenzie. Kim Roffey and Adam Malone make up row number 5. Row number 6 is Kay Donnelly with Aaron Dillon. Row number 7, we've got Peter Madison and Parry Anastakis back out there tonight. Row number 8 is Todd Maxfield and Andy Barber. Aidan Schultz, Nigel Patton make up our 9th row. On row number 10 is Adam Johnson and Andrew Carr. Row number 11 is Philip Howe. Tim Blundell, Brian Blundell, Tony Roffey and Noddy Tompkins will make up the rest of the field. They just haven't jumped on just as yet. A little bit of the timing screen just playing up there, but we are getting ready for tonight's race. As I said, we are looking forward to about 134 laps here tonight. I'm, as ever, joined by Mr. Mark Johansson. Mark, welcome back, mate. Good to have you here, and looking forward to this race here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, definitely going to be an interesting one. A reasonable sized field and some very fast guys towards the back too tonight, Carl.
Yeah, we should see some people working their way through the field. Chicagoland, a really fun racetrack as well. You can run a couple of different grooves here, and as is the case in the supercars, you get to run a few different grooves that you don't normally take in the old NASCARs because you've got a little bit more downforce at the front and back, just to give you that opportunity to run some different lines.
Yeah, definitely. And Sim Boys are well presented again here tonight. Big team. Rogue Racing is also out there tonight in force. Should be interesting to see how I do believe Mr. Jager's back in the field tonight. So be interesting to see how he ends up tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. Hoping to get a good run for Pinnacle here, and he's going to hope for a good finish tonight. Could be interesting to see how that all plays out. Lots of things, though, going on. And, well, the championship, it's still pretty tight between Wellman and Roffey, especially once we go into the reset of all things. But those two are sort of right at the head of the field at the moment. That's where the main championship battle is, but the team's battle is close. Anyway, we're about to drop the green flag here for tonight's race. I'm going to shut up for the moment. Let's enjoy these cars roaring around the track here at Chicagoland. And as our first lap is done and dusted, it's Craig Roffey in the lead for that first lap, but Justin Whitcher and Raymond Yeager coming up quick on the high side, working their way towards the front. The Pinnacle cars getting towards the front of the field fast, wanting to get themselves a good finish tonight, to get the team's championship a little bit healthier for them. They're currently sitting third in that chase, behind Southern Stars Esports and, of course, Sim Boys. Rose Sim Sports doing a good job in fourth as well, despite having a few less numbers in their team sometimes, but they are still holding on, still close in the points championship. And again, if they have another good finish here, they could well work their way up into third. But lots of action going on here, and the Sim Boys are working their way up quickly as well. You see Troy Davidson on the low line, moving forwards quickly in the red-flavoured Sim Boys car. He's got Gary Wellman just behind him. Tom Pritchard there as well for Southern Stars.
Yeah, and also on the outside there, Adam Malone is thereabouts too. So two Southern Stars guys up there towards the pointy end also, Carl. So look for them to team up and start moving forward. But these two Pinnacle cars out front have really got the hammer down and putting a nice little gap on the field.
Yeah, Whitcher bump drafting with Jaeger at the moment. The RKJ Web Services car up the front. Of course, big thank you to title sponsors RKJ Web Services and Whitcher Electrix there. United Electrical Solutions and Hot Toddys, all in the same picture there. Just missing out on my Private Cellar sponsored car up there at the top of the field. But good to see all of them having a good run so far. Look down on the inside. You've got Chris Finlay flying forwards, and they've broken up the two Pinnacle cars now, who are starting to drop down the order. Now the rest of the field has got a huge run on them. And look at the four Sim boys at the front. They are flying forwards at the moment. Davidson, Finlay, Dillon and Donnelly.
Yeah, definitely. Still a long way to go, Carl. We're only on lap 6 now. So I don't think Justin and Raymond will be too worried just yet. Let these guys run out the front and use up their tyres, and come back to them later on in the race. But further back, we've still got some 3 wide action, and everyone's really wanting to move forward here tonight.
Yeah, no holding back so far. 13 cars covered by less than a second at the moment. Really tight, close-knit stuff at the moment. The rest of the field only covered by about 2 seconds. You know, it is very close at the moment. As that shell car going down the inside there, flying through the middle of Andrew Carr, absolutely chugging along in the middle of this group. He absolutely chopped down quickly and got himself in a really nice position. A few of the privateers, lone flyers out there tonight, having some good runs, and they are really racing hard in that bid pack.
Yeah, that shell car though, you're getting loose again there. I was just going to say, a couple of laps there now, his rear end is just not settled down. It's breaking loose on him. So we'll have to keep an eye on him and see that he doesn't end up sideways in front of this field, because if that happens, it's going to be a huge wreck. And on the outside of him at the moment, we see Aidan Schultz in the Golden Octopus car working his way to the front.
Yeah, I hope to get another podium finish tonight. I am sure Aidan Schultz in the Golden Octopus car has had a good season so far. As there's contact in the background. That's going to bring out the caution. Didn't quite see who it was. I think Todd Maxfield, Troy Davidson involved in that, maybe Parry Anastakis as well. Parry just avoided that, luckily. But it was Troy Davidson, I think, and Todd Maxfield, the two teammates getting into each other as Adam Johnson made contact. So sort of a three-way dance there as they all got involved in each other. Raymond Jaeger taking a heavy hit with Adam Malone as well. So big accident. That could have been much, much worse in the middle of the field. Watch this. Just on the inside, the red car just moves up, gets caught up, and then bang, up into his teammate he goes. And that was a big old smash. And just see there, Raymond Jaeger going into the back of Adam Johnson there, and just taking off the rear spook lid and spoiler. Jaeger looks to have got relatively little damage, but any damage is bad damage. And look who survives on the inside line, down low. That green car of Gary Wellman just slivers through without making contact. He just absolutely got out of the way there. So that could have been much worse.
And everyone's into the pit lane. So in the pit lane, top off of fuel, get any damage fixed, any damage done, fixed, and back out.
Yeah, the fuel top off is going to be a big one here. Just give them a little bit more wiggle room in the race, reduce. Gives them a little bit more option later on. We often see somebody sticking it out, trying something different. Tonight is not the case, as the rave goes on in pit lane and they all start heading out. Just a quick top up of gas for these guys. They won't bother about changing tyres yet. Only the 3 sets for the race, of course. So limited number of sets to drive on, and not worth changing the tyres this early in the race. But Chicagoland can be a bit of a tyre-hungry track, Mark. The right rear tends to get a big beating around here.
Yeah, it's either the right rear or the left front that it gets spewed up very quickly. And we've seen in all types of cars when we've raced here that you really don't want those tyres getting hot and running down, because they will break loose on you.
Yeah, absolutely. Heat is a killer here. Usually in the daytime, it's much, much worse. Of course, luckily we are running it at night. Only 23-degree track temperature, so that should help reduce the tyre temperature and just make it a little bit less perilous out there. But as you know, these cars run through the rear tyres, and when you've got all that horsepower going through the rear axle, it does tend to heat up those rear boots quite quickly, and that can cause problems as the race goes on. Aaron Dillon in the 13 going to be taking the lead here. The pink flavour of Simba. He's got Kay Donnelly for company right up there. Justin Whitcher as well did a great job of working his way through the field and avoiding incident too. So as we can see, all the cars getting ready for this restart. Looks like we may have lost Troy Davison, Todd Maxfield, and Adam Johnson at this stage. They're still in pit lane getting quite a lot of repairs done. I think they're going to be in there for a fair bit of time, unfortunately, with some heavy engine damage for a couple of those cars.
Yeah, just before we go back green, I can tell you Raymond Jager's car is heavily damaged on the front. It's got a pushed-in nose, and the right rear is heavily damaged. So he's going to struggle for the rest of this race tonight.
Yeah, hopefully no cooling damage on the car, because that's the thing that will be the death knell for it. Hopefully it will get away with some reprieve from that one. But we're about to go back to green flag racing here. 122 laps remaining here tonight. Sunday night, of course, Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by My Private Cellars, and away we go once again. The chase down towards turn one is complete. Aaron Dillon getting a great start up front. Looks like Justin Whitcher has decided to pull off a little bit earlier. He's taking a little bit of a slower run up here, just falling down the pack a little bit, just getting himself behind a few cars, possibly wanting to sort of get himself a little bit further back in the queue to do some fuel saving here, while the rest of them charge out in front.
I'm just keeping an eye on the 897 car. Oh, it's Darren McKenzie just gives him a love tap. It's still very unsettled, that car. It just does not seem right for him tonight. It hasn't settled down at all.
When you've got a car that's not quite working for you, or you've got a little bit of trouble with the rear just kicking out a bit, it tends to exacerbate itself over a race run. So hopefully it's just one of those things of he'll get settled in a little bit quicker. Andrew Carr, of course, will get a little bit more comfortable in the car and not have as many times as the tail kicking out in that Mustang. But for the moment, it's looking very untamed. But it's got some speed in it as he's closing in quickly on Peter Madison on the low line as they come flying down here across the tri-oval section and work their way forwards for another lap.
And I can tell you too, Carl, the one car that has got some speed in it, even with some heavy damage, is Raymond Jager. He's now up in the 10th spot. So he's come from the rear of the field into the top 10 in just over a lap.
Yeah, it looks like that car's gotten away relatively unscathed, even though it looks ugly. It's still got some speed in it, although I imagine if he gets in clean air, it will start to struggle a little bit more, as the front end is very heavily damaged. So sitting behind some other people will not be a bad call tonight. Meanwhile, up at the front, Kay Donnelly takes the lead, up 10 places in this race. He's worked his way to the front nice and quickly. Biggest mover and shaker at the moment is Andrew Carr, the Shell car, just in the right side of the screen. Up 16 spots so far, working his way nicely through the field, and the car's looking a little bit more settled now, so looks like he's gotten a little bit more comfortable with the corners, getting a little bit more comfortable with the track layout, and a little bit more comfortable on that low line. Of course, when you're on a multi-groove track, you can really catch yourself out by running up the lines, and that's what he does there. Ooh, big moment as Gary Wellman saves it at the background. That was almost a caution there. Andrew Carr just getting on those lines. You've got to be careful on a multi-groove track not to do that, because the way it works is it's a slightly different elevation on each of those grooves. And he just got up high Gary Wellman takes a hit into the wall, but avoids making that into a huge accident. Very well done from everybody there to get through that one unscathed, and well, without breaking the field up too much.
Yeah, Aidan Schultz very lucky to keep that car up front too with that touch, but he's now up into the third position, so he's definitely made some moves. Started down in a 17th spot and up into third place, so that's a great run for Schultz tonight.
Yeah, been on top form recently, Aiden. He's been having some really good results and wanting to continue with that run. And we'll try not to put too much of a curse on him, so we'll just ignore him for the rest of the race and he'll be safe.
Should be, but he definitely needs someone up there to help him on that high line.
Yeah, using the side draft to his advantage at the moment. Just keeping himself up there next to Peter Madison. As we see Justin Whitcher looking to thread it through the middle, decides to ease off a little bit, doesn't quite take the bait yet, but he's looking to work his way forwards, it seems, as Darren McKenzie's also on a bit of a charge too. In the 0 to 7 stars entry, he's got right up to this group and is closing in quickly. They are all relatively close together as Andrew Carr has another big tank slapper there going on to the tribal section. It seems to be that part of the track is just not quite working for him at the moment. It got caught out there a couple of times in the early stages. Just needs to try and get a little bit of a softer line, I think, and just not drop too close to the apron, because it looks like it's unsettling the car a bit too much.
Yeah, it's once he gets down on that white line, it really, and again, very loose there. He gets down on the white line, and it just seems to want to break the rear end away from him.
Yeah, it's very different to running a sort of NASCAR, of course, because you've got a lot more aero dependency on these cars, and when you drop onto a heavy off a banking and onto a flat section like that, it lifts the car up, sheds a lot of air underneath it, and negates the front splitter a bit and causes a big drop off on downforce, which will cause a huge issue with the car. And you've just got to be so careful not to get caught out with those moments. It's why you don't see the cars cutting across the tribal quite as much in the Supercar series. Meanwhile, up front, Kay Donnelly still in the lead, but could it be for a short time, because Aidan Schultz is getting a huge push at the moment from Darren McKenzie, and they are working their way nicely towards the front of the field, and they are flying at the moment up on that high line. He said he needed a little bit of help up there, and he's got it from Darren McKenzie. Yeah,
Darren can push a car very well, so let's see if those two can work together and move them to the front. But Donnelly and Dillon have just got a fraction of a gap now over Whitcher that's sitting in that.
And Andrew Carr takes a huge smack into the wall, manages to save it, but that's going to drop him right to the back of the pack and possibly out of this race. Lot of damage to the right-hand side of that car, and I would not be shocked to find out if there was some suspension damage there. That was a huge hit. Did well not to drop down in front of the pack there, so saved a huge incident, but I've got to say his night is looking pretty much done.
He's in pit lane now, so and that you're right, it's very heavy. No, he's decided to stay out and try and battle with that car, but that right hand side car is absolutely destroyed.
Yeah, I can't imagine it will be too long until he has to pull that one in, just because it looks like it has got some serious damage, and probably get the old meatball flag, the black and orange flag for mechanical issues on that car not too soon, and have to bring it in anyway.
And as we said that, he's pulled up and he's taken it behind the wall, so that's unfortunate for him. He's out of the race and done for the night. Well,
good job to not bring out the caution flag at least, so It's never fun when those incidents happen, but if you can avoid the caution flag, then it is it's a nice feeling, and it does help the race continue on. So good to see that at least. So up at the front, Donnelly, Aidan Schultz battling it out at the moment, as that low line is still working very, very well for Donnelly. He's managed to hold on for a fair few laps, keeping himself in the lead and keeping bonus points away from that high line, crucially. So that is the thing that's at play at the moment. It's trying to nibble away, get a few bonus points here and there, and every time they come to the line, it's been Donnelly in the lead by a hair, and just keeping himself in the lead for every lap. So that low line is obviously working well.
Yeah, it's definitely the line to be on at the moment, but now we've got Jordan Schultz up the top with the Pinnacle cars. Both Raymond and Justin Whitcher now are looking at getting up there. And we've also got, I believe, one of the Sim boys joining that top line too. So may get interesting here in a few laps.
And finally managed to get a lap led for Aidan Schultz and get one ticked off the box. It's been a while, but they've done it at last. But it's broken that high line up a little bit. They're not quite comfortable up there, it seems. As you can see, they're just not quite able to run full nose to nose. And I think Jaeger is just struggling in the number one Pinnacle car, the RKJ Web Services car, of course, defending champion. Raymond Jaeger, he's just struggling if he gets behind somebody, so that suggests there might be a little bit of damage to that radiator. So he's having to just keep the nose in clean air. Still got the speed, but just having to get some extra clean air through there just to keep it cooled, which says that there might be a little bit of damage to the old cooling system.
Yeah, and we can see here that Aidan's not quite sure where he wants to run. He's come back down to that low line, but as he comes out of the turn, he drops back up onto the high line. It's going to make it hard for the guys behind him to try and get in there and work with him as he goes back up the high line and starts working with Mackenzie again, and that's allowed Jaeger to get up alongside him.
I wonder how well that car will lead it. Contact between Mackenzie and Schultz, and they somehow keep it from wrecking. Great driving there from Aidan Schultz to not have a bigger accident there. He's got some serious damage to the car. That's going to be a heartbreaking moment for Aidan Schultz, because his car is got some real heavy damage. It wouldn't surprise me if he needs to come into pit lane very, very soon for that. Let's take a look at the replay. Just a bad bump there from Mackenzie, and just caught him on the left-hand side and turned the car up into the wall. And that is how easy a mistake like that can happen. But just great avoidance skill there from Aidan Schultz in the Golden Octopus car to not have a bigger accident, because, well, that was looking pretty much like a field wrecker there, if I've ever seen one.
Yeah, it definitely was. And unfortunately for Aidan, he's now dropped down to 11th position in the field. So with heavy damage. And we've seen that too, Carl, both in the NASCAR leagues and here. If you don't get it, your front bumper onto the rear bumper of the car in front for the push, it's going to turn that car. Yeah,
it's so easy to have an accident when bump drafting. It's a really, really tricky skill. And, it's so easy to have an accident like that, because you've got to be dead onto the car in front of you, and if you're not, that will happen. And it just shows how few times we have an incident like that, because it could easily happen a lot more times than it does.
Yeah, definitely. We see there the guys trying to go through wide and they come back out, and Jaeger's not quite sure where he wants to be. He was leading that bottom line, moved to the high line, and now he's back up onto the high line again after not quite sure where he wants to run.
He's still got some really good pace in that car after that early incident where we saw a few cars go around. We lost Adam Johnson, Todd Maxfield from the race with that one. I think Troy Davidson's managed to get the car back out on track. and get a lot of the repairs done, which suggests that he might be one of the scoring sim boys tonight. So he's at least back out there for some points. But the RKJ Web Services car is up there and still got speed at the moment, which, looking at it, you wouldn't quite believe.
No, it's definitely not looking new. I'm just trying to see who that car is that keeps disappearing into the Neverland. Peter Madison. I don't know if he's doing it on your screen, but every now and then he goes into the other realm and disappears.
I've not noticed it from my end, but I will keep an eye on that one, of course. The joys of sim racing is connections can be slightly different for everybody, and you never know if it's going to be working or not. And it looks like it's at least settled down on our end, but never fun when that happens. Looks like Aiden Schultz had to bring the car in, and he's taken it behind the wall, so I've lost the 52 Golden Octopus car, unfortunately, from tonight's race. After that bad bump from Darren McKenzie, just caught him out. McKenzie got away relatively unscathed. He's got some damage to the right-hand side, but not nearly as bad as some of the other cars out there. Easy thing to happen, though, unfortunately.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, this is getting a little bit messy here. And not quite sure where they want to run. We got Nigel, I believe, up there in the 90 car, trying to get up and hook up with Raymond. But yeah, they're just that little bit unsettled at the moment.
Or Aaron Dillon having a snap there, coming off turn at number 4, and it looks like that low line is starting to get a little bit twitchy. And I've noticed it from a couple of cars in the pack, but they're not quite turning in as well as they were at the start of the race. The tyres obviously dropping down a little bit with 42 laps into this race, with a quick stop for fuel for everybody, but still the same set of tyres. And I think those tyres are starting to fall off a little bit for everybody throughout the pack, because the cars are getting a little bit more twitchy with every single lap mark.
Yeah, it's they'd be getting to the end of their tyre life on these things. Probably 55 laps would see that the tyres done for the night, I'd say, on the set. But also the tyres are now hot and the fuel's getting lower and lower, so the car would be getting light in the rear end. Some guys may try and make some little adjustments but there's not a lot we can do with the adjustments in here. So it's just a matter of hold on and keep turning left.
Yeah, that is it. It's you have to run with what you've brung in this, and you sort of have to adapt yourself around the car, which isn't always the easiest thing to do, because sometimes it just does not do what you want it to do, and you just got to brute force it to get there. And at the moment, everybody's sort of working well together. It's still a little bit, just that little bit twitchy throughout the field. The main pack, though, about 2.8 seconds between all of them. And they are sort of still keeping relatively close, but you imagine it won't be too long until those first pit stops will be starting to take shape, and people will be thinking about what to do coming in to pit lane, whether they keep with the tyres, save an extra set, or just go for it, and how much fuel to put in, all the little strategy aspects that will come into play in this race and the next 88 laps of tonight's event.
It's very interesting at the moment. The top 6, we've got 2 Southern Stars cars, 2 Pinnacle cars, and 2 Simboys cars. So it's going to be interesting to see who's going to work with each other when they come to that first set of pit stops.
Yeah, you would imagine the teams will be working it out in their own private booths and sort of going, look, when do we want to bring it in? Do we want to wait until another team decides to call it, or do we all come in together on this set lap? Do we keep to our strategy? Do we try and keep everybody on the same aspect?
Sorry,
As
Carl.
we've got Peter Madison going to be coming in to the lane, just heard on the radio, and we can see he is indeed.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I just heard that call. So this is going to be the start of the pit stops. Peter, hopefully someone can come in with Peter, and otherwise it's going to be a very, very lonely and long race for him.
Yeah, if he can get himself back out and look, pit stop here, we might just get back out with the pack, but it's going to be very, very tight indeed as they're coming across the line now. So he's missing that opportunity. So yeah, he's going to come out all on him to lonesome now, and he's going to have a lonely run once he gets back out of the lane. But yeah, he's going to be hoping some other people start to call into pit lane soon, because he's sort of at an awkward point at the moment. I imagine they're going to be wanting to extend this stint as long as possible. If they can extend it another 4 laps or so, another 3 laps, they can then make it just with one more stop. But it's going to be very tight indeed. So it's going to be a tricky one to make it with just one stop. Peter Matson's going to need at least 2 more stops. So I think we're going to see some people trying to extend here as long as possible, but we will see a big heap of cars coming down the lane in the very near future.
Just heard over the radio, mate. Kay Donnelly's in this lap. Stim Boys are in this. Oh!
As Raymond Yeager gets caught from behind by Adam Malone, unfortunately, coming into the lane, and that is the perils of a green flag pit stop there. Yeager got very lucky not to get sideswiped by anybody, and everybody else got very lucky to make it through without more carnage there. That was a big, big moment for everybody, I think.
Yeah, can we have a clean set of underwear? One, please.
I think Craig Roffey will be looking for that. He was so close as well to sideswiping Yeager. Just see that there, that little nudge, and up they go. And Roffey just sails through and just avoids it by the narrowest of margins. So do the cars behind, and you can see that. I think that was Peter Matson just missing by the narrowest of margins.
Well, that will actually help Peter with that caution coming out, because that'll allow him to get back on the lead lap and come in, just top up with that fuel and then keep going back on the lead lap.
Yeah, he got lucky to be the lucky dog there, you got to say. So he'll at least be able to get back on to the lead lap and get himself back into this race. Wasn't the worst case scenario for him, at least.
No, definitely not. But we've seen this again. Go back to some of the NASCAR stuff. Guys trying to wait till the last minute to decide to come down the pit lane with their teammate, or last minute decision to duck in. And that's, again, we've seen right throughout the whole series, just that little touch at these high speeds can see guys get turned around.
Well, we always say it with pit stops, it's the time where you're most likely going to see the caution flag fly, because green flag pit stops, an incident like that is just millimeters away from happening. And, well, it's happened once again here tonight.
We've been lucky though, Carl. This is only our second caution. We could have had 3 or 4 others with some of the incidents that we've seen tonight, and that just goes to show how good these drivers are at these high speeds.
Yeah, very much so. They do a great job of avoiding the carnage. That was really good situational awareness from everybody down the pack there, not to get caught up in that incident, because it's so easy to miss an accident like that. You don't have great view out of these cars in the best of times, but when you're running around an oval like this, you can only see a tiny percentage of the track in front of you. and you just have to hope that the car in front of you is not stationary when you're going through those corners. And really nicely done from everybody just to avoid more chaos in that accident, because it would have been so easy to sideswipe one of those cars.
Yeah, definitely. So I guess the I guess the first set of tyres now would be off those cars, and fresh set of rubber and full of fuel, ready for another 50 odd laps to go.
Yeah, I imagine everybody's taking the opportunity to get everything reset, get fresh boots, get some fresh fuel in there as well, and just get ready for this race. And now we're seeing a few of the cars coming in for a last minute splash and dash, and not a bad idea to do that, because as I said, they were right on the cusp of making it to the end where they were. Having that little bit of extra fuel in there is just going to give you a little bit more wiggle room. We saw cars needing to come in around about lap 38, lap 39, and with this little extension with the caution flag, that's going to help a tiny bit, but it could still leave you a little bit short, especially if you're running up the front with nobody to help you and nobody to block that big wall of fresh air and make you use a little bit more fuel. So having a tiny bit of extra fuel in the tank could be a good idea. So Madison, Wellman, and Dillon all taking advantage of that, so that could really help them out when it comes to the end of this race.
Yeah, we do see guys though rolling around under these cautions, either turn the car off or just put the clutch in and just let the car roll. So wonder who can do that the best tonight.
Yeah, they should be able to make it from here with one more stop, but if we get a green-white checker or something like that, those guys that have taken that little bit of extra fuel, it could give them the opportunity to stay out at the very end and jump them up to some spots. But we are back to racing now. It's Justin Whitcher, Nigel Patton leading away. The Pinnacle Esports cars up at the front of the pack, and they are going to be looking to have a good run up here. Brian Blundell up there, nice to see him having a good run. He is up 18 positions. Just sitting behind them on the low line. We've got Andy Barber and Chris Finley working their way forwards. There's a little bit of contact between Brundle and Craig Roffey. They all make it through once again. Great driving from everybody in the pack. That was very, very close for everybody there. But again, they all make it through and survive another near fatal incident.
Yeah, very lucky there to keep going. Roffey was heavy into that outside wall.
Yeah, let's hope there's not too much damage to Craig Roffey. He would be, he's going to be hoping for another solid result tonight. Of course, he's had some really good runs recently and been pretty much on the podium all bar one race he's entered this season. He has, of course, missed the first race as well, and that's sort of the thing that's just meant he's missing out on a couple of points. But for the rest of the year, he's been absolutely on fire. But this could be a big implication for him tonight and the Rogue Sim Sports team.
Yeah, I've just been back and had a look at that car, as you can see there on screen now. Heavy damage down the right. I reckon there may be a little bit of damage done to that right front tyre. So we just got to hope that that doesn't come into play for him and he can work his way back through the field.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be able to reset and get himself comfortable as Justin Whitcher having a big tank slapper as Raymond Yeager was giving him a big bump draft down the back straight. And again, just these cars, they're not really designed for the bump drafting. And you can do it, but you've got to be a bit careful in them, even compared to they are not easy to bump draft with. So they're doing a good job out there at the moment. Andy Barber running away at the moment. He had a huge lead, but now everybody's caught in his draft, and you can see a huge snake of cars flying up towards him quickly now as they get a huge run towards the front of the pack. And the Pinnacle cars working together now, all three of them up there, with Yeager up towards the front now as well. So Pinnacle absolutely flying. And I was just looking at some of the cars that are just absolutely scything their way through the field, and those are the guys that had a little bit of a later stop, who are a bit more comfortable on fuel. So I get the feeling that people who made that late stop are just not worrying about fuel saving, whereas the rest of the field are a little bit cautious still.
Yeah, just that couple of litres extra will do wonders for you. They've got that little bit to burn, as you said, Carl, and not really worried. But it's still a long race to go. We're only on lap 61 of 134, so still a lot to play out here at Chicagoland.
Yeah, 73 laps remaining, and Brian Blundell working his way up quickly towards the front as well, hoping to get up there and get himself a lap led, I am sure. Raymond Yeager denying that at the moment. He is flying at the front of the field, and that car is looking a lot better than it did a few laps ago. He's managed to get the front end completely fixed on that car, which is some good news indeed, after he was facing the wrong direction coming into pit lane, and getting caught in an incident earlier, completely passenger in that incident. Been a good recovery drive for the number one tonight, and well, you're not too shocked when Raymond Yeager has a good drive in these cars. He's a dab hand at it, of course, but he's having an absolute stunner of a race so far for the amount of bad luck he's had.
Yeah, definitely. I'm just looking down the list too, Carl. The good thing is we're 64 laps in, and we've still got 18 cars on the lead lap, and we've only lost 3 cars from the race tonight. So with the incidents that we have had, it's been good to see that we haven't lost too many.
No, it's good to see some of those cars getting back out on track. Adam Johnson has managed to get the Technomancers to resurrect his car in the 960. He's back out on the track at the moment. So it's Troy Davidson and Peter Matson. He dropped a couple of laps, unfortunately, in pit lane during that last caution as well. So not sure what happened to him, but he is currently the first car that is a lap down. He's 3 laps down, I should say, but he is sitting there. It's still in this race, of course. Meanwhile, Brian Blundell working his way right to the front, and the 75 would love to get a lap led here. Can he do it? It's going to be close. It's going to be close, as they are going to be coming up to the front curve, you should say. Not really many straights here at Chicagoland.
I think Raymond's just been able to keep his nose in front, and I'd say, Raymond Jager, I should say, has led it another lap. Blundell just can't seem to get that push from the car behind him and just get his nose in front of Jager.
So we've seen it a few times tonight. The low line's just not had the speed out the corner. High line's been a bit better down the front, on the front tri-oval section. Just been able to get a slightly better run. This time around, again, Yeager keeps himself up there. It just seems to be that high line works very well, and that's something to keep an eye on for the end of the race. And I'm sure people will be taking note of that in the cars as well, because as we often see in the Australasian Supercar eSeries, of course, brought to you by Private Cellars, the last lap is very crucial, because it's not very often we have a finish that's separated by more than a couple of tenths.
No, it's very challenging. I'm just watching Jager here. He seems to be dropping down into that middle line. I think he's trying to just test that for the run. And I think we may see him run that last lap through that middle section. Although down the back straight here, it seems to be the high line and the low line, the preferred. But we can see him there again, drop to that middle line, trying to get that side draft off Blundell.
Yeah, crucial information, not just to us, but the whole field for the final run to the flag. And it is just really, really close stuff. Again, Yeager is so close to Blundell as well. No fear given between this top group of cars. They are absolutely flying. But now, Andy Barber's joined the mix, and we're 3 wide up the front now as they come up to the line for lap 69. It's going to be lap 70 in the very near future as they're 3 wide at the front, battling it out here tonight. And, well, absolutely nothing covering the top 3 cars, just a thousandth of a second between them, as a little bit of contact between Jaeger and Blundell that time round. Not much, but just that little bit of side rubbing. And, well, you know what they say, Mark, rubbing is racing.
Yeah, but you don't want to go rubbing too hard in these cars because we've seen what can happen. And Raymond's been out of pull in front of Blundell now, and we're back to 2 wide racing. Some entertaining racing when we're 3 wide here. It would have been interesting to see if anyone else had joined Raymond there in that centre line, just to see what type of drive that centre line had.
Yeah.
Oh, go on.
Oh, sorry, Mark. No, continue.
I was just going to say he's running that low line, but he wants to be running that middle line. We can see him down across the tri-oval there and really using the whole track, making it a nice straight kind of run.
Yeah, that's the other thing, of course. Once we get to that checkered flag, it's going to be a... Well, you may only be able to fit about 3 or 4 cars on the track at racing speeds, but they would be happy to go 5 or 6 wide up the front to get to that line, and using any little bit of track that is still valid. The white line made to find the racetrack in Formula 1, but in NASCAR, it is just there for an optional part of the track.
Yeah, I was just going to say, a lot of people get confused. They think that white line is the actual pole line on ovals, but the pole line is actually the grass line. So you can use the whole track. You can use it right down to the grass on the back straight if you want, but it's not recommended.
No, that is it. It's generally not worth doing. And we saw earlier a couple of guys struggling when they were going across the tri-oval, just dropping it to the low line, and it can be a struggle sometimes. It's not the easiest line to run because it does unsettle the car, but if you can make it work, you can gain an enormous amount of time by doing it.
Yeah, definitely. And we can see here, Blundell's been left there on that low line by himself. Everyone has joined Jaeger on that midline now. So it'd be interesting to see if anyone can catch up with Blundell and help him. But it looks like we're going to go back to 3 wide racing here. This is great racing, Carl. 3 wide for half a lap and back to 2 wide. Everyone really tussling for that lead up the front here.
Well, I think a few cars are pretty happy sat behind at the moment and just saving a little bit of fuel as Jaeger's back end just gets a little bit floaty there as it floated up towards Andy Barber, but then managed to get it settled again, getting it nice and tight across the tri-oval section. And you just see how much time he gained by doing that. He just got about 4 or 5 car lengths ahead of Blundell, so he's really testing the water, I think, and trying to work out what is the best way to win this race. Still a long way to go before you can start thinking about winning, but he is definitely getting some information for the team there.
Yeah, and these guys are now closing in on Troy Davidson. He's only probably 100 metres up in front of him. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens when this angry pack does catch Troy Davidson.
Yeah, Davidson's just been down the lane to get some fuel. He had to come in for his stop and get some fuel and fresh tyres, I imagine. So he should have some decent pace in that car, so it could be a good car to work with as well in this pack. He had to get the car completely rebuilt as well, unfortunately, because he did take quite a lot of damage in one of those earlier incidents, but now it is up to speed again. He is trucking along at a fairly good pace. Kim Rothy now making his way towards the front of the field in the purple Rogue Sim Sports car. He is right behind Jaeger at the moment, and Andy Barber has chosen to go on the midline now, and he has sort of taken over that line and just stopped Jaeger from being able to use the whole track here now. So Andy Barber doing a great job of positioning his car and just cutting off that ability for Jaeger to really take up the whole track. So he's now forcing him to take that slightly higher line, which might not be working for Jaeger with that little bit of damage on his car still. That might be something that's hurting his tyres and why he was taking the lines he was taking, just to try and avoid any sort of, just to avoid a little bit of wear. But you see Jaeger's now flying down to the inside and managed to get himself back into a position where he can get ahead of Barber and get himself back on to the racing line that he wants to run.
Just look, accident behind the 81.
A big accident in the mid-pack there. Tim Blundell, I think, was caught up in that with Gary Wellman. Gary Wellman getting a huge hit in that with possibly Peter Matson as well. That is some huge damage for those boys.
Yeah, it looks like Tim's just broken loose and got really loose and went up into Gary.
Almost fairly heavy net code, I think, in that one as well. There was sort of a little bit of net code related as they're running side by side. And Craig Roffey got a little bit of a hit, but the big one was the rolling Peter Matson, who had a big tumble there. Let's hope he's not using VR, because I imagine that he will be vomiting into a bucket right now.
Yeah, definitely. The 81 was lucky not to get caught up in that, although he has taken some damage to the front. He was able to let the car roll back down the track and avoid that tumble roll.
Huge implications for championship, though. As Gary Wellman in the 45, he had a huge amount of damage to the front of that car, and I think his engine is blown. So he is going to be having a long old pit stop as he rolls it into the lane, and that's going to be a long old repair time to that car.
Yeah, it's going to be a extensive repair, a lot of 100-mile-hour tape and a lot of hammers, I'd say.
Yeah, it's going to be a long night for the Sim Boys tonight. They are going to be a busy. Well, I think honestly, you're better off just putting that car in the crusher and starting again. I think that will be quicker than trying to repair it. It's got that much damage on the front. It would definitely classify as a write-off. So this is some. Well, as I say, it's got championship implications there. Because, as I say, Gary Wellman was leading the title fight, but this could well see Craig Roffey jump up ahead of him. If Craig can have a good finish here tonight, he's managed to just get himself through a couple of big accidents so far. The car is not pristine, but he is still on the lead lap and still fairly in shape. Is Craig Roffey in the 030? So. Going to be interesting to see how this one shakes out. And, of course, Chris Finlay as well up there. He's sitting third in the championship at the moment. And he's another driver that could really benefit from this. This could see Chris jumping closer to Gary Wellman in the championship as well.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see the outcome. But we do still have Raymond Jaeger on the pole there, or in position 1, and will lead the guys to the green flag. I'm just looking, Craig Roffey down in 17th at the moment. So let's hope Gary can get that thing repaired and get back out to get some points.
Well, I'd never write Gary Wellman off before a race, because last time we did that, he came back from 4 laps down and still won it. But I think tonight is going to be a difficult one for him to get some good points. We'll see how that one shakes out and unfolds. But the 45 is back out on track. So the Simboy mechanics have done a incredible job of getting that car out on track. And Gary's only one lap down at the moment in a car that is, well, a car that is about 10% car still. So yeah, that's a big repair job needed on that one still. But being only a lap down, that could still work in his favour.
Yeah, definitely could. As you said, Carl, we've seen him come from further down than that before. So let's not just count him out of the equation just yet.
No, if we say he's not going to win it tonight, then guarantee. Let's see if it works. Gary Wellman definitely not winning it tonight. We'll see how that one pans out. So it's Raymond Yeager up at the front, and you would say that he was not looking good for a victory earlier on in this race when his whole front of his car was caved in, but he is up there battling for the lead with Kay Donnelly at the moment. Pace car pulls in, and we're about to go back to green flag racing for a 50-lap shootout here at Chicagoland Speedway for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by my Private Cellar.
It's going to be interesting now. Everyone should be able to make it home, but the guys out front are still going to be the ones that we're going to have to watch with no one there to break the air for them.
Well, from my counting, they're going to be about 8 laps short. So I think we're in for a splash and dash. So I think everybody's just going to go hard because they need to do one more stop.
So if we see a caution, we expect everyone down pit lane for a splash.
Yes, indeed. If we go green, we're going to see everybody down pit lane for a splash. So
yeah,
it's they need that caution to come out. If a caution flies in about 8 laps time, then they can pretty much make it home. But if it's any sooner than that, they're going to be just a little bit tight on fuel. So it's just coming out at an awkward time for them all here, as I don't think anybody can make it to the end from this stage of the race.
Well, we'll know in X amount of laps whether we're right or wrong, Carl.
Find out how good my maths are, which is a terrifying thing. Okay, Donnelly fighting his way up towards the front now as they're free wide for a couple of moments. Adam Lone, Yeager and Donnelly battling it out at the front of the pack, with Kim Roffey up there as well. He is fighting his way up there, and Kim's been having some good races recently. Been having some very close misses with the podium. Could tonight be the opportunity to get Kim Roffey up on the podium? He'll be hoping for it, but there is a lot of hungry cars behind him. We've still got 14 cars on the lead lap at the moment, and up the front the racing is as close as you like it. They are really racing hard up at the front of the pack, as mine just has a little blink there, but a bit further back it is just as tight. Just watching Justin Whitcher, Noddy Tompkins, and Tony Roffey with Tom Pritchard there. They are really fighting it out in that pack at the moment.
It's good to see Noddy back out here. He's had some time off with some health issues, and he's made a comeback to the NASCAR scene, and also good to see him back out here in the Australasian Supercar eSeries.
Always good to see Noddy on track. Absolute brilliant bloke, and always fun to race against. So it is great up at the front, and just see they are racing so hard with each other at the moment. It's great to see. There is no holds barred at the moment. They are fully going for it, and commitment is there. And just watching Kay Donnelly is absolutely glued to the low line. He's been there all race long, pretty much. It seems to be his favoured line. For sure, and that could be beneficial for him in this run, as he's going to be pretty happy down there, just keeping Yeager just up in the mid to the high line and stopping him from cutting across the trial section. So Yeager's still not able to take his preferred line at the moment. few bruised cars out there still, as we said, and quite a few cars as Gary Wellman's just going a lap down there, as we see just how much speed he's lost in that car. He's missing. I think if you look on the track later tonight, you're going to find a couple of cylinders laying around on the track surface that used to belong to Gary Wellman, because that car is not got the speed it used to, but he is still trucking along. Only 2 laps off the lead at the moment, but just trying to get every point he can. The one at Risco is Craig Rothie, the man we're looking at now. He is right in front of the main pack here. But he is very close to losing the lead at lap, and he will not want to do that. He's going to want to stay on this lead lap as long as possible, because he wants to try and build as much of an advantage over the cars behind him, because right behind him, 1 lap down, is Chris Finlay, one of his championship rivals. So it's going to be imperative for Craig Rothie to keep ahead of this pack and keep on the lead lap for his championship hopes.
Everyone just seems to settle down now. There's not a lot of lane changing happening. Just nice and easy, and I reckon around lap 115 we'll really see the gloves come off and some very aggressive moves start to be made.
Absolutely, it's the aggression levels will get turned up in this race, I am sure. I might just leave it with you just for a couple of seconds, Mark.
Yep, no worries. We can see further back there on that low line, 2 of the Pinnacle cars have been able to catch up with each other, Justin Whitcher and Nigel Patton. They'll be working together to try and get in front of that Kay Donnelly, but Kay's definitely got that low line set. It's as Carl has been saying, that is definitely his favourite line.
Yeah, I'm sure the 2 Pinnacle cars on the bottom there will be looking to get linked up with Raymond, who's on the outside of the front line, at the front on the outside line. Yeah,
again, we spoke about him briefly, the 119 car of Noddy Tompkins just sitting there in 7th position at the moment. He'd be quite happy sitting there and be ready for him to make a nice little move. Just looking at the other cars there, we've got Adam Malone from Southern Stars there. Further back I can see, I think it's Tom Pritchard, is it? Yes, Tom Pritchard sitting there in the other Southern Stars car. Darren McKenzie, unfortunately, is down in 13th place, so it'll be up to those 2 cars, teammates, to try and link up and work together. And as I say that, we see Noddy sticking his nose out and trying to have a look at the outside. Andy Barber on the move again, trying for the outside move around Pritchard, but unable to make that one work. We're still focused on these front 2. We're almost up to Craig Rothie. Craig Rothie's only about 50 metres up track now from this angry pack, so it's going to be interesting to see how these guys do it. As we say, as I keep talking, Raymond Jago almost had that low line in the lead. I can just see out of the corner, Rothie's moved down below. No, he's still up on the track. I reckon we may see him go down below that white line and let these angry guys go.
Yeah, they're not catching him too fast though. They're only catching him by 0.2 of a second. Raymond's last lap was 31.3 and Rothie's lap was a 31.5 out on his own. So they will catch him. Looks like Wellman will be probably the first one they catch, because Wellman is about 4 seconds slower than them. As we see him pull up to the high line now.
And Gary's done the right thing, gone up high and let this pack go. But it's just broken the lines up a little bit, getting past Gary there. We can see Jager's still out in front of that high line, and Donnelly's still on that leading that low line.
Yeah, it's pretty hard to get the momentum on the outside line to get it the pass done really. Although he is leading the laps, but he's just not getting clear enough to drop down in front of that low line.
Yeah, as I said, Matt, I reckon around 115 we might see those other 2 Pinnacle cars really start to try and push Donnelly on that low line. But right at the moment, they're just happy sitting there too wide, and Jager's definitely getting right down close, trying to get that side draft off the 41 car. But that opens that high line to Adam Malone, and Adam is really looking at trying to get up alongside to go 3 wide.
Yeah, Raymond's going to have to be careful there, and Adam is certainly looking at going. As Raymond's got clear, he drops down. Angles the car out and uses the really low line there at the start-finish line. But Donnelly got a really good run as well. He's now back up side by side.
Yeah, I was going to say, Matt, it's one thing you've got to be very careful of using all that track there. We've seen it in some of the NASCAR races, guys using that inside line and coming on and just mistiming with the guys still on the race surface and just touching and causing a huge wreck.
Yeah, it's hard to, especially when you go 3 wide on that line, it's hard to know you've got to look over and work out where the other cars are and how much room you've got to come up. Otherwise, as you say, you'll make contact. But yeah, here they are. They're about to catch Ruffy now, so I imagine Ruffy will probably stay high line. But he's battling to stay on the lead lap, so he may not want to give this up too easily.
But the other thing that, as you said, Matt, was that he's not that much slower than the lead pack. So Jager may just sit. Jager's decided to move the car to the low line. Going to say he may just sit there and use him as a windbreak. A little bit of a touch there, a little hip and shoulder out of the road and let it through. Yeah,
I think the Raven just had the big the draft. I think Ruffy's now going to sit comfortably behind Malone, but yeah, now that he's in that pack, he's back up to that regular speed, and I think he'll be happy sitting there.
Yeah, he's just got to be careful now of other cars falling a lap down, or at least keep himself ahead of Chris Finlay, who is sort of sitting a bit further down in the pack, but he is sort of relatively close. He's only about 3 or 4 cars behind at the moment, so he's going to want to make sure that he is at least in the lucky dog position, so he can get that back if there is a caution.
Yeah, definitely. I've just noticed that we've lost Nigel Patton out of that lead group. He's dropped down to 12th now. I didn't see what actually happened to him, but doesn't look like there's any damage done. So maybe he just got caught out and just dropped back. But he'll be wanting to try and get back up to his teammates, as the guys are now almost catching Gary Wellman again with that heavily damaged car.
Yeah, Wellman's down by about 40 kph in speed, and you can just see how much that is affecting him, because he's just with a little bit of a mobile chicane at the moment, really trying to keep it out and doing a good job of just keeping it out of the way as well. But it's a painful drive at the moment for Gary Wellman. Really nothing you can do in a situation like that.
No, definitely not. We just see there that Justin Whitcher tried to have a move on Kay Donnelly, but didn't work and dropped down. Andy Barber now into the lead of the race.
Yeah, Adam Malone, that is, Mark.
Sorry, yeah.
Adam Malone up into the lead and work his way. There's contact between Barber and Jaeger, and Brian Blundell straight into the side. That was a big impact there. The caution flag flies here tonight with 25 laps remaining. That was a big moment between those 2 cars, and tricky to see what happened there. Maybe a little bit of netcode related issue there between the 2.
That's now the second time that Raymond Jaeger has been heavily damaged. Not only down the right, but down the left and front and rear, and he's blowing some smoke as he's trying to make his way back to pit lane.
Yeah, I think that's going to be done for him tonight. Second time these two have made contact, of course, they had contact coming into onto pit road. Just looks like the line's just moved up a little bit, just creeped up the track a little tiny bit, and it's just had contact with the two cars, and well, big impact for that group. Good job again from the lead pack to make it through there, to survive that, in all honesty, because that was again a really heavy incident, and that could have taken out the whole pack. So everybody into pit lane, unsurprisingly, get some extra fuel in the car, because, as we said, they were not going to make it to the end with the current fuel loads. This will be it, though. This will be the final round of stops for everybody, other than those with some damage. So get some repairs done, get the car into some good conditions. We were talking a little bit before about Craig Roffey needing to stay ahead of Chris Finlay. Well, he wasn't when that caution flag came out. Chris Finlay's got his lap back. Craig Roffey is still down one lap here. So that was a big moment for that car up there as well. So some good news for Chris Finlay. He had that car positioned in the right place at the right time. Craig Roffey, unfortunately, he must have made contact, I think, with that incident, or had something just catch him, because, yeah, he's lost himself that lucky dog spot, I think, and dropped him down a lap, possibly. Oh no, I think he actually was in the lead, so he got a wave around. So good news for Chris Finlay and Craig Roffey, as they are both back on the lead lap.
Big news too is Raymond Jager has taken that car behind the wall. His night is over.
Yeah, unsurprising. That was a real heavy impact. Just been back to look at it again, and it just has that tiny little bit of netcode related issue there, as the two cars got so close to each other. And we've seen it time and time again. You've always got to add an extra couple of millimeters in virtual racing just to be safe, because it's so easy for a car to go around when it gets caught like that. And unfortunately, that's brought the caution flag out again for tonight's race.
So with anyone that's had tyres, another set of tyres, I would have say they would have bolt them on now. We've probably be 20 laps to go when we go back to green. Probably take another 2 or 3 laps here to get the field sorted out and lined all back up. So it's really going to be a sprint race, and we've seen what happens in these sprint races with this class of racing earlier in the year, Carl. It's no holds barred.
Yeah, gloves will be fully off for the run to the flag here tonight. They are going to be racing hard. They were racing hard before this caution came out, so racing even harder than that. That's always an exciting prospect. We are going to see the full-on action here tonight, I think. And, well, it's been a real race for attrition tonight. It's been unusually high tonight, and we've seen some big incidents, but we've also seen a lot of lucky escapes here tonight. A lot of people getting just out of the way and just avoiding those big incidents, which looked like they could have been much bigger, Mark.
Yeah, definitely. One lucky person is Tim Blundell. He's been able to get the wave around there, and he'll get his lap back. So that's good news for him in the 81 all black and yellow car.
Yeah, we saw him caught up in one of the earlier incidents as well, and he's sort of gotten away somewhat unscathed in that one. He's got some damage, but it's not the worst possible. That will also give Gary Wellman one of his laps back as well. So he's managed to claw back one lap at least for Gary Wellman, even though he's still going to be about 4 laps down from it here. So and not with the pace to race. So we're going back to green flag race, and Justin Whitcher, Kim Roffey up the front, and Whitcher gets a beautiful restart there into the zone. Absolutely catches the rest of the field napping, which is not always what you want in these cars, because it's going to give a big draft behind them. And that's exactly what's going to happen to Kay Donnelly here. He's going to come storming up towards the front. As the restart happens, Donnelly's going to get a huge slipstream. side by side once again. Donnelly back to that low line, back to that favoured low line as well. And he gets himself into the lead with 20 laps to go. It is Donnelly, Whitcher, and Roffey, the top three at the moment. Kim Roffey, Parry Anastakis up in P4. Great to see Parry up there. It's been a while since we've seen him out in the car. And Noddy Tompkins just behind him, another one of the returning drivers. So good to see a couple of boys out there who haven't been up there for a while. It's nice to see them back out on track and up into a higher position as well.
Yeah, definitely good to see Noddy up there as we see Perry drop down to the low line. So it's definitely a sprint race here now. And who's going to work with who? We got two road cars up there, so we'll see if they try and hook up. But Noddy's on that high line now, pushing that. Can't just see who that is that he's pushing, trying to get up onto the back of Donnelly.
It's Tony Roffey down there. Sorry, Parry Anastakis down there on the low line behind, just ahead of Mackenzie. And then it's Kim Roffey just behind Donnelly at the moment. So they are working against each other at the moment, the two Rogue Sim Sport cars. But they'll try and link up with each other in the near future, I'm sure. Darren McKenzie right back up there as well with Tom Pritchard. So Southern Star's got two cars up in the mix as well. And they are charging along fast. But up the front, it is Whitcher and Donnelly battling it out. And Whitcher at the moment is making it work. And he's sort of taking over Donnelly's low line and keeping him up high at the moment.
I've just started to notice Raymond Jagger in the green room there. We'll get him up as soon as we can to have a quick chat. But this is very interesting still at the front here with the racing. Whitcher and Donnelly definitely fighting it out.
Yeah, they have been battling all race long, those two. And Whitcher sort of, he's been sitting out of trouble as well. He's done a really good job of keeping that car out of trouble tonight. Very clean looking car. Same for Donnelly as well. Those two cars have sort of kept themselves in the right position at the right time. So they're doing a very nice job of it here tonight. And Donnelly's desperate to try and get to that low line. You just feel it. And he's trying to get down there.
Well, we've pulled Mr. Jagger up into the booth here. Not a great night for you tonight on the return, mate.
No, it was going really well. I was pretty confident I was going to win the race until Adam decided to turn up into me. But that's okay. It's racing.
Yeah. We had a look at it and we thought there may have been a little bit of a net coat there, but that's not for us to call. It's left up to the judiciary afterwards. As we see a lead to the change to the lead, Donnelly been able to get back down underneath your teammate there and take the lead of the race back.
Yeah, Donnelly's been super consistent all night. He's up on the top now though, which is different. He's been down the bottom pretty much the whole night. And I think he's probably been watching me. The tops definitely where you want to be for a run to the line.
Yeah, we were talking about that. It seemed like you were running that midline for a lot of the race. We're just trying to get guys to commit to that to try and get a better side draft off the guys in the low line.
I just feel like you've got better control over the guy on the bottom. Like he well, as long as he knows what he's doing, he'll not come up into you, and you could just sort of run your own line basically. Like I could use.
Oh, sorry. Oh, sorry, Carl. Who was that we've just seen loop?
Kim Roffey going around there as they were getting past, I think it was Adam Malone, unfortunately, getting past, that's sort of green car just going a lap down. The big incident there up the front of the field. Sorry, Mr. Jaeger. Just all goes off as we brought you up, and all goes to pot just behind, and looks like Darren McKenzie's got a little bit squirrely with Noddy Tompkins. So Noddy Tompkins just has a little bit of side contact, sends Darren McKenzie down, and then they go looping around, unfortunately, in a big crash in the mid-pack.
It looked like, well, they were getting under Malone there. Malone and Tompkins made a bit of contact down into Mackenzie and then up into Tony Roth. He was doing nothing nothing bad, but he just got caught up in it. So it happens.
I was going to ask you quickly as well while we've got you up here tonight. You had a very rough night, all in all, considering I think you sort of you were sitting passenger in two major incidents tonight. Unfortunately,
Yeah.
it was not really your night, was it?
Nah, mate. That we got involved in that first one. We were down on RPMs for the little run there, and got that fixed up, and we ended up getting back up the front, and then obviously we had the big one at the end there. And as I said, I said to Justin at about lap 80, I was like, as long as I stay clean, I'll win this race, because I just felt like I had control of that top line. And the only concern was on the last lap that Cade was going to duck under the white line and use that runoff under the apron there. But I was fairly confident I was going to get to the line first tonight. But yeah, didn't happen.
Well, a shame we did not see that. We'll keep our fingers crossed though for your teammates. Hopefully they can inherit a little bit of the luck and get some information out of you for that run to the end. But big commiserations for tonight, Raymond.
Yeah, cheers. Hopefully Justin can pull out the win here, and I think Nigel's at the front now as well, so hopefully they can get a good result. And I think Justin's going pretty well in the championship as well, so Gary's had a bit of a shocker tonight, which will help Justin overall, so yeah.
Absolutely. Well, fingers crossed they get a good job going and they can get you a couple more points in the championship as well.
All right, guys. Cheers for having the chat.
Thank you there, Raymond Yeager there for Pinnacle. Unfortunate tonight that it was not the easiest runs for him. He really was in the wars tonight, and just really being in the wrong place at the wrong time all night long.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. Things like that, you do get runs of races like that where you just seem to get mixed up with the wrong things at the wrong time. But then again, you have some races where you have some really great runs and you clean race all race.
That is it. A man that was in the wrong place at the wrong time was Kim Marofi, unfortunately. He's back out on track. He's still out there. He's still lapping. So good news for the 099. But definitely going to be a bit down on speed. With some heavy damage to the right front as well, hopefully. We can see him at least getting to the finish line tonight. But it has been as I say, it's been a rough night for a lot of these drivers, and with 9 laps to go, it's you imagine that the temper's going to get a little bit hotter. The aggression's going to get a little bit more aggressive, and this might not be the last caution we see tonight.
No, I was going to say that, Carl. I don't think that's the last caution of the night. I got just this feeling in my bones that we're heading for overtime tonight.
Yeah, could well see the green-white checker here tonight. This has allowed quite a few people to duck in and get some final repairs done as well for their attack to the line. So this could be some good news for a couple of those drivers. And if they had any tyres up their sleeve, they might have slapped a fresh set on for the run to the flag here as well. I doubt anybody had anything spare coming into this one. But it's going to be tight at the front, and we've got a lot of mix of different team cars up there as well. It's broken up pretty heavily. There's not really any dominant team up there. They're all sort of it's all just single drivers up there now with no teammates to support them.
Yeah, it's a very higgly-piggly front line, front group to now. So it's going to be see who can work together and try and push each other.
Well, we're going to find out very shortly. We still have 13 cars on the lead lap tonight, and a few cars are lapped down, unfortunately, after those incidents, and a few walking wounded out there as well. But we're going to be going back to green flag racing for 8 laps here now for the Australasian Supercar eSeries, brought to you by my Private Sellers here at Chicagoland Speedway. It is round 8 of 11, and we are about to go green, and we do indeed. As Cade Donnelly gets a nice start from the low line, pulls up a decent lead in the beginning, but that's just going to mean that the cars behind him get a better run at him and Justin Which is going to be looking for that very, very soon. Noddy Tompkins up there as well. We saw him just get that little bit loose, and that was the start of that last caution flag. But Tompkins up flying now towards the front of the field. What can he do in this race tonight? Whicher drops down to the low line, gets ahead of Cade Donnelly, as well as a little bit of contact between Anastakis and Tompkins, as they keep on banging behind, side-to-side contact there as well, but they keep the cars in the right place at the right time. Andy Barber also up there now with the rear spoiler back onto that car. He's had to get some repairs done, but he's back up there now. He's got some good pace. Tompkins and Anastakis still battling it out behind the leaders here as they go back to racing.
Yeah, Noddy just needs to settle down, sitting there behind Justin, because he's got Justin's teammate behind him. He's got to stay above that white line. Stop getting those left tyres in below that line. But we see now Patton join that middle line.
Patton doing a great job of working his way through the field, giving Justin Whicher some support here. He's caught up high as they're three wide. Anastakis in the middle and Justin Whicher on the low line, and they are racing hard with each other as contact as the round goes Donnelly into that is a big wreck for Donnelly. Cade Donnelly and Justin Whicher making second heavy impact. That was a huge accident. Looked like Harry Anastakis just caught the tail of Justin Whicher, and it's sent around Whicher into Donnelly, into Tompkins, and then Donnelly gets sent up into the fence and goes for a roll, and his night is over. Let's see that again. So you can see there that little bit of contact from the grey car behind, just tagging the back of Whicher, goes up, sends the two Pinnacle cars into each other as Cade Donnelly goes down. He tags Noddy Tompkins, who then flicks him up into Justin Whicher, and Cade Donnelly's car goes absolutely sailing over once, does the rollover, lands on all 4 feet though like a cat. But yeah, that's going to be a heavy old impact for Cade Donnelly, and that's going to be pretty much his night over and done with.
Yeah, just watching this to see who comes in the pit lane, because all three of these cars now sitting in 1, 2 and 3 have damage. Andy Barber looks like he has got some steering damage. He's just testing the steering there.
I'd say probably the car that got the least damage out of that would be Nigel Patton up in front. He got heavy impact into the passenger side door, but there was nothing to either wheel, so he might be the car that got away relatively scot-free in that incident. Although there is still some heavy damage on that car, he looks like he's gotten away the best of it, but a lot of cars needing to get some heavy repairs done, unfortunately, and that's going to lead us. I think we're going to be leading to green white checker here as well. So your premonition of overtime, Mark, may well come true here.
Yeah, just looking back at the 02 car, Darren McKenzie, that has heavy damage there. No bonnet, no boot, and the front and rear and sides looking second hand.
I think the only panel on that car that is somewhat damage-free is the roof at the moment, but that's it currently on that car. But it is still running. That's the important thing. There is a lot of damaged cars out there, and as you say, there's a lot of people got away relatively unscathed tonight, but it's been a race of attrition for sure. I think probably the cleanest car out of the top group here is Tony Rothy in the 85. So that's one of the cleanest looking cars I can see out there at the moment. Chris Finlay as well, his car is fairly unscathed too. So that could be useful for the 104. And then as you get further back, again, it's a lot of walking wounded out there.
Yeah, just looking at Nigel's car's pretty clean. Noddy Tompkins got a little bit of damage on the front. So he should be reasonably okay. if he can get slot in behind someone. He definitely doesn't want to be out leading. Andy Barber's car, a little bit of damage down the right side of that car. Tom Pritchard, I believe it is, in the
Yep.
91. He's got damage down the right side. Then, as you said, the 85 is reasonably clean, but behind him is Darren McKenzie. So it's going to be an interesting start. As the lights go out on the pace car, we won't get overtime here. So we will.
Yep, we have got green
Ah,
light.
yes,
checker.
sorry. Yep. I just seen that come up. So a little bit slow tonight. So it's going to be a 2-lap sprint.
That is it, and the next flag will finish the race, be it a yellow or a checkered flag. The next flag will finish the race. So, with the amount of walking wounded cars we've got out there tonight, we've only got 11 cars on the lead lap now. It is it's fairly hefty damage for everybody. Big winners out of this, though, could well be Chris Finlay. If he can get a good start here and get himself up towards the front of the pack, be fantastic news for his championship. Same for Craig Rothie. They are all sort of sitting in good positions, but there are a few cars out there that are damage free. They could be good for tonight. We're coming into the restart zone. Next flag finishes the race as we go back to green flag racing here at Chicagoland Speedway, and a little bit of a checkup in the mid pack as there's a wreck happening. The caution flag is out, and Nigel Patton is going to be taking I think they will be taking the win for this one. I think that was our green light checker. So let's just go back and have a look there, because I saw a couple of cars going around. I saw Darren McKenzie caught up in that one with Tony Rothie and Chris Finlay. So Chris Finlay got some heavy contact with that one, and I think they just got caught out a little bit coming up behind, and a huge incident behind that took out a handful of cars, and that has really caused some damage throughout the pack.
Well, if that's the race done, that's Nigel Patton, Noddy Tompkins, and Andy Barber, our top 3.
Yeah, just have to give me a moment. I was just looking through, because I was just thinking that could be great news for Craig Rothie. It turns out it's not going to be, because he hit his instant limit. He got disqualified from that one. So I think we still got... I'm just looking. I think this is our second green white checker, so we've got the second green white checker coming. So we've still got one more restart to go. So just double checking my screen, and that's what it's saying. So we've still got a little bit more action here. Craig Rothie, he has been disqualified with instant point limit. He just got the slightest touch when that was all happening, unfortunately. It's not been a fault of his own there, but unfortunately that's how the rules work in iRacing. But that's taken out a whole group of other cars, and well, this is going to be a slightly anemic field for this restart.
Going to be interesting, because Noddy Tompkins got a really good restart there, and he nearly grabbed the lead of the race. So it's going to be interesting to see what actually happens here on this restart, because we've got Nigel Patton, Noddy Tompkins, I believe it's Kim Rothie, Tony Rothie is the front 4.
Yeah, there's quite a few cars in there that are sort of sitting that could, well, for an upset here. And as I say, there's a couple of cars in that group that are relatively undamaged compared to the rest. And Tony Rothie in 4th, he had the cleanest car at the last restart. He took a heavy whack into the right-hand side for this one. Chris Finlay's got a huge amount of front end damage on the car. Parry Anastakis is boarded in just for a quick repair job. So we're down to about 6 cars, probably about 5 cars on this restart. We are very much down to a small field here now after that big incident. Nigel Patton, though, you got to say he's sitting in a prime seat at the moment. As long as he can get away cleanly, he should be okay. But Noddy Tompkins could well steal it here.
Yeah, definitely on the cards for a steal, and that would be fantastic for him in the SRM team.
Well, what about Kim Rothie and Tony Rothie as well for the Rogue Sim Sports team? They would be delighted. And we were talking a bit before about Kim Rothie missing out on podiums. This could be the night where he gets his podium as well. Tony Rothie as well, the 4th car in that team tonight. You know, he does a lot more road racing than oval racing, but this could be a fantastic result for him. If you can get it pointing in the right direction, those two are going to be starting next to each other. So team cars working with each other, they could be in for a great finish here and a great points haul as well, because Parry Anastakis is up there too. So the misfortune that befell Craig Rothie, unfortunately, that's taken him out of the equation. And that's going to be good news for Gary Wellman, of course, because that's going to keep his championship lead in sight now. So he's still going to be leading the championship after tonight's race, but the gap will be closed for a few of these cars.
Yeah, definitely. Pace lights are out on the pace car, so we will go back green this time by.
Yeah, we do apologise about jumping the green-white checker. I forgot there's 2 green-white checkers here. So it's always the tricky thing. It's when you've got multiple series, you often have those brain fade moments, but we're going to have this final restart now. This is going to be the final green-white checker as the pace car pulls in. It's going to be Nigel Patton leading away for Pinnacle. My Private Cellar sponsored Pinnacle car gets away nicely, gets a good start. So does Kim Rothie. Absolutely jumps past Noddy Tompkins, who looks like his front end is a little bit worse for wear. He's not got the speed that he had last time round as they come through. As Nigel Patton is trying to get as much speed on that low line as possible. But Kim Rothie comes around the top, flies past, and Rothie's got a huge turn of speed here. He is flying. Can Patton hold on to the back of Kim Rothie? 3 wide behind as Chris Finlay's working his way up there. This is a really good opportunity for Chris Finlay to close the title opportunity chances as they come across. Take the white flag. Next flag will be the checker. We're going to see the race finish here. It's Kim Rothie in the lead ahead of Nigel Patton with Chris Finlay in 3rd. Rothie is streaming away at the moment. The 099 has got a nice lead as it stands coming down the back straight. Can Chris Finlay jump Nigel Patton? That's going to be a crucial one there. They are close. They are very close indeed. Kim Rothie has just got to get round the corner. He's looking good. A little bit of contact between Patton and Finlay as they come to the line. It's going to be Kim Rothie taking victory here tonight ahead of Chris Finlay and Nigel Patton in 3rd position. Tony Rothie comes home 4th with Noddy Tompkins in 5th. Parry Anastakis will come home 6th. A great night for Rogue Sim Sports. Adam Malone 7th. Tom Pritchard in 8th. And I think Tim Blundell will come home 9th. And, well, he didn't win it, but he still got inside the top 10. Gary Wellman comes home in 10th. Somehow.
I do not know how he does it week in, week out. It's a man that he can pull of miracles, and he's done another one tonight. Like with the amount of damage that car has sustained, you would not think he'd be back out there running.
No, he didn't win it, but that's going to be as close to a victory as you can get in a car that damaged. Coming home inside the top 10. But Rogue Sim Sports are going to be delighted with that. 3 cars inside the top 6 here tonight, and you can see Kim Rothie is absolutely burning the house down, joined by Tony Rothie and Parry Anastakis. Rogue Sim Sports are going to be delighted with this victory here tonight. Well, that was a long race for these drivers and a incident-filled one as well. Unfortunately, we saw a couple of big accidents here tonight. But Kim Roffey, he's been up the front pretty much all race long. We were talking about him getting on at the podium. It's been a bit shy on podiums for Kim Roffey. Well, he's done one better. He's taken victory here tonight. Chris Finlay comes home second with Nigel Patton in third. Noddy Tompkins comes home fourth with Tony Roffey fifth. Harry Anastakis, Adam Malone, Tom Pritchard, Tim Blundell and Gary Wellman in 10th position. As we roll over the page, it's Andy Barber in 11th. Craig Roffey will be classified in 12th by the looks of things. Darren McKenzie 13th, 14th for Kate Donnelly, Justin Whitcher 15th, 16th for Troy Davidson, Brian Blundell 17th. Adam Johansson in 18th, 19th for Raymond Yeager, and Peter Madsen in 20th. Aaron Dillon will come home 21st. Aidan Schultz out early in 22nd. Andrew Carr 23rd. Todd Maxfield 24th. And Philip Powell not making the start. Whew. Well, that was a dramatic finish to the race. But what we will do is we will start to talk to our podium getters. And first up for Pinnacle Esports, it's going to be Nigel Patton. As we will bring him up to the booth for number 90. Nigel Patton, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on a podium here at Chicagoland.
Thanks, guys. Good to be here.
A rough end to the race for a lot of people, but you managed to keep the car relatively unscathed.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was lucky enough to avoid all the previous carnage, so yeah, it was good.
A tough run at the end, though. It looked like you might have had a bit of damage to the car that was just slowing it down a little bit at the end. What was your sort of feeling like on board?
Yeah, it was a little bit slow. It probably wasn't the plan to get a good jump at the restart. Maybe I should have stayed with the pack because it was just a target for everyone to mow me down. But anyway, it was all good.
It's always a tricky position to be in, isn't it? You know, everybody always goes, "Oh yeah, starting from the front's a good idea." Not so much in these cars.
No. But anyway.
No, look, a solid result for a rough evening for yourself and for the team as well. We saw all three of the team up at the front at one stage or another, but luckily you at least made it to the end and made it onto the podium at least.
Yeah, that was good. It was good to have Ray back for a week. So yeah, the team was back together. So it was excellent.
No, well, look, congratulations tonight, Nigel. Probably not the finish you wanted, but still a strong finish indeed. Before I let you go, though, the love, the shout-out sponsors, people, go for it. You absolutely deserve it tonight.
Thanks, boys. Just thanks to you guys for putting on the show. Greg for putting on the league. And our main sponsor for the team is my Private Cellar. So the boys in Brisbane. So shout out to them. Thanks very much.
Always a pleasure, Nigel. Thank you so much. Hopefully we'll see you up here and a little bit higher in the near future as well. But congratulations for a great night tonight and a strong finish as well.
Thanks, boys.
Pattern that for Pinnacle Esports coming home in third position tonight. Next up is our highest finishing Sinboy. It is Mr. Chris Finlay in the 104. Chris, welcome to the booth, mate. Congratulations on P2 in a race that was looking a bit worse for wear through the middle part.
Yeah, it seemed to really be a fair bit of chaos out there tonight. It was a little bit uncontrollable.
Yeah, it was a chaotic race indeed. You were a lap down at one point, going into this sort of final stage of the race, and you must have been thinking, "Oh no, this is not going to be the finish I need."
Yeah, I mistimed a piss stop and came out just behind the pace car and exited a closed pits, and there it was, lap down.
Oh, drat. That's not a good thing, because I was wondering what happened, so you've answered that for me. So that's always good news. Not good news about the penalty, but it turned out to be probably a blessing in disguise because it kept you out of some of that trouble.
Yeah, it kept me out of some of that trouble, but I also got lucky when the wreck that I got the lucky dog, Craig, must have just hit the front of the pack. Him and I were battling for that lucky dog position, and he must have hit the front of the pack, so the pace car went in behind him, and I got the lucky dog. It was awesome.
Yeah, it caught me out off guard, that one, because I was trying to work out what happened, and I'm like, wait, what? What's? And managed to find out what happened from a countback, but that really did save your race. Obviously, with your two championship rivals at the moment, obviously Gary still managed to finish in the top 10 because it's Gary. I mean, how can you stop that man from actually getting points? But Craig also had a pretty rough evening, finishing a bit further down. This is going to be good for the old championship points.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be good for the championship points. It's unlucky those two had rough nights, but I guess we all go through that at some point through the year.
That's it. It's like swings and roundabouts. They come around eventually, and sometimes the rough times get paid back for a good finish. And tonight, well, it came in your favour with P2 here tonight. Obviously, running to the flag, you had some pretty heavy damage to the car. How were you feeling confidence-wise getting to the end of this race?
Yeah, the pace was still there, so they might have looked pretty damaged, but yeah, the pace was still there. And I reckon if I had another lap, I reckon I would have been able to get closer to Kim and give him a run for his money.
Never enough laps when you need them, of course. Look, congratulations tonight, Chris. Well done on P2 here at Chicagoland Speedway. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing, the love, the shout-outs to sponsors and people in general. Go for it, mate.
Yeah, thanks, Carl. First, shout out to Kim. Well done on the win. Shout out to the Sim Boys, United Electrical Solutions, Hot Toddys Heating Installs, and yeah, just the family as well.
Always good, Chris. Thank you so much. Have a great night, mate. Hopefully we'll see you back in the booth in the very near future and maybe one step higher.
Yeah, definitely won't be on the road course, I can tell you that much.
Thank you so much, Chris Finley there for the Sim Boys coming home in P2 tonight. And finally tonight, it is the winner of the race. It is Mr. Kim Roffey for Rogue Sim Sports. Kim, welcome back to the booth. Welcome to the booth for the top step as well. Congratulations on your win here at Chicagoland Speedway.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a long time coming.
It has. We were talking a bit in the race when you were up there battling. Sort of all race long, you were up at the front of the field, and we were saying it's been a bit light on podiums for yourself. And we were sort of saying, could this be the night where we get you back in the podium, get you back up here? And well, you've done one better than that. You got the win tonight. You must be delighted.
I'm very delighted for the first one, and yeah, just running behind it. I was just trying to keep out of trouble for that last bit, and the last two crashes. Yeah, lucky enough to escape it.
Absolutely. It was a night of attrition, and well, we saw you got caught up in a fairly heavy impact sort of towards the final sort of 50 odd laps of the race, and that must have been a moment where you thought, it's not going to be tonight.
I was thinking that because I got a black flag, so I had to come in, and then I thought I went a lap down, but lucky enough, the yellow flag came out just at the right time, and it kept me on the lead lap, so I was able to, yeah, go from there again.
It's always nice when luck swings back your way after a heavy crash like that, and sort of especially if you've got a black flag as well. It's a very nice thing to have that luck swing back in your direction.
It is. So yeah, tonight just happened to fall my way a lot of the time. It was
Absolutely. Good. I mean, look, it's been a good season for Rogue Sim Sports so far. We've had a Roffey winning the race for the past 3 in a row, well, 4 in a row now with yourself. Obviously, Craig not having such a good night tonight, but still, you must be delighted with the team all getting 3 of your cars inside the top 6 tonight. That is a really good result for you guys.
It is. Team-wise, it's been really good. Team helping each other. It's just a little bit unfortunate that Craig got caught up in a lot of the incidents that weren't his fault.
Yeah, it's never fun being in the wrong place at the wrong time. But tonight you were in the right place at the right time. Coming into that final green-white checker, obviously you had a bit of damage on the car, but it looked like you still had some really good pace in there.
Yeah, I think there was like 10 seconds worth of damage after that last pit stop, so it didn't really hinder the speed of the car. And then once the green flag dropped, I just nailed it and held it flat the whole time.
Well, it absolutely paid off. You absolutely nailed that restart tonight and got yourself a well-deserved victory here at Chicagoland. Well done indeed, Kim Roffey. Before I let you go, though, the usual thing, the love, a shout out to people in general, and of course to prospective sponsors who should sponsor Rogue Sim Sports because they really need it.
Yeah, firstly, I'd just like to thank you in the Performance e-streaming, then the Australasian Supercar promoters, and then as for Rogue Sim Sports, we haven't got a sponsor yet. So just the all the teammates who have been helping with everything, just like to thank them.
Oh, awesome stuff. Thank you so much, Kim. Congratulations again on victory here tonight. Well deserved indeed.
Thank you. Hopefully I can be up here again.
Absolutely. I'm sure we'll see you back in the booth in no time at all, and hopefully for another victory next to the name.
Hopefully it will be. Thank you.
Kim Roffey there for Rogue Sim Sports taking the win here tonight. It's been a fantastic fantastic season for them, Mark.
Yeah, it definitely has been. They've been thereabouts, and definitely a great race again tonight.
No, it was fantastic stuff tonight. I mean, look, a rough race for a lot of people out there tonight, but in the end, we saw some fantastic racing. Unfortunate to those guys that got caught up in the instance, and as is often the case, things can come back your way as the races tend to be. Luck can swing both ways. So we are done for tonight, and we're done for the ovals for a little bit of time because next time out we are heading to Belgium for the Circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. Obviously, a very different track. We are looking forward to heading off to Belgium and seeing these cars take on the challenge of Eau Rouge and hitting Radion for the first time. It's going to be intense stuff. So we hope you can join us there for that one next week. Next Sunday, of course. We also have the Anscar Cup coming up this week as well on Thursday night. We're going to be heading off to Martinsville for the penultimate race of the Anscar Cup. So we hope you can join us there on Thursday for that one. But for tonight, we are done and dusted. So a big thank you to all of you for watching and all of our drivers for competing. We will see you again very soon here at Performance e-streaming. From us all, good night.